Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Deckin Around the Plug. Today, we are really excited to welcome on Aaron Fisher and Lee Asher to talk about their Conjuror Community Playing Cards, which just launched on Kickstarter. But before we jump into it, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. So, Aaron, Lee, what's up, guys?
It's a very exciting time, right?
Very much so, man.
It is.
Absolutely.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about the Conjuror Community?
Conjuror Community is a magic club. So, it's an online community of magicians where you have access to really great magicians in a really supportive environment. And so we're helping magicians around the world explore and discover magic in exciting ways, that really do something that you can't do just from on-demand videos or self-training from videos. And when Lee and I grew up, some of the older magicians were very, very helpful and kind to us, but plenty of them weren't. Right? And so we wanted to create a place where you could really work with people and be in a safe environment. If you're going to show some magic to people, the guys would help you and support you and not just say, you suck, go, you have no talent. So we wanted to create a different kind of vibe than that.
Nice.
You mean you don't like how they do that on Instagram? How literally they do that?
I have to say, as silly as it sounds, when I first popped up on Instagram pretty late in the game, I was kind of astonished at how supportive and nice and enthusiastic everybody was.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's what I've actually felt nothing but love there.
That's cool. Yeah, no, that's cool. I think it's the more of the younger crowd that are just starting out, that are doing things, and
everything. We just got started, right?
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you'll see a comment on a post where it's like, "That was really nice, but I know how you did it," or "You flashed a little bit there, but good job." But those are few and far between, thankfully.
Yeah, and it's hard not to flash on video. I feel bad for guys who are just trying to make it on Instagram. Sleight of hand is built for misdirection and an audience and the whole thing. And then, if you just get up there with the cold, unblinking eye, you have to, really nail it, unforgiving.
Yeah.
And then little Bobby is 13 and he's going to tell you, hey, you suck. So,
that's true.
One of the things that's really, I think, interesting about Conjuror Community is, of course, we have an archive of all the live events we've done. We have living room lectures and really candid conversations with magicians where they share things that they wouldn't really share in a release, and it's a really unique vibe. So it's a magic club that uses a website, and I think it's hard for people to understand the difference between that and a magic website.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's an amazing thing, and I don't know. We were talking before the show, and basically, I got introduced to you guys through a magician in the community, and when I saw what you were doing, I was blown away. I think it was literally a 2.5 hour lecture that you brought a magician on, and I was just blown away because it was free, first of all, and I was literally what, I haven't seen this before. It's literally a lecture, and maybe not all of them are free, but it was something that I'm not used to seeing, being in the community for only, a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've had Lee come do living room lectures at least once or twice.
Nice.
I think we've been doing live events on Zoom for 4 years. We went over to Zoom. So this is
crazy.
Everyone is discovering Zoom, right? But we've been doing these, a lot of lectures over the years have had a live component, a live chat or something, but it's really been integral to our whole format, is giving people access, feel they're really with a person.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times in magic, when you get to sit with a magician that you look up to, you sort of have this one-time opportunity to bask in his light and his glow.
Yeah.
And it's great and everything, but that's not really how you learn magic. So a great part of what we're doing is making ourselves accessible on an ongoing basis so that you really can actually sink in, make friends, and really, because that's a lot of what magic is all about, is you got to make friends.
Yeah.
You got to connect with people. And that's what you really need the most, because how else are you going to make sense of all the stuff you're trying to learn? And so it was really actually a big, clear connection between what happens on Kickstarter and what's happening in the playing card community, because we could see that they're both really based on like serious communities, like really not just the buzzword community, but like people who actually care and share and support each other. And it seemed like a really natural fit, you know?
Yeah.
Lee, I know, Lee, how long ago was it you did your first lecture with CC?
A couple of years ago. You know, but real quick, I was thinking while you were saying what we just talked about, most people don't realize that before there was the online, there were magic clubs, right? There still are magic clubs. You can probably go to a local magic club if you look it up online. Maybe you don't live near one, but there are some magic clubs. And that's what Aaron and I were raised on. You know, we both went to our local clubs as kids. So we understand what works, but we also understand what doesn't work and why it doesn't work. And
that's huge.
Yeah. And to be able to craft the safe space, as Aaron said earlier, to provide something, some framework, if you will, that works for magicians is basically it's the next level, right? This wasn't created in a vacuum. It's standing on the shoulders of what we saw as kids and what worked. And so that's really like the essence. I mean, if you're going to ask me to distill it down, that's the essence of Conjuror Community on top of all the communal things that go on, is that you join this, you get better. You know, I mean, obviously it's, you know, what you put into it, you'll get out of it, but you can put in as much as you want. Like that's designed for that. It's designed for you, you know, to be as great as you want to be. And all the tools are there for you. And so that's awesome. Really, it's like the next level magic club, if you will.
And it's a lot more fun. I mean, Lee's one of the places I was teaching, I started doing full-time card coaching and teaching like private lessons like in 2010. I moved away from Los Angeles and I really just started. I feel like I was doing Skype lessons and things like that at that time, and I hadn't really even seen it anywhere else.
Yeah.
Now it's a whole different time. But at the end of the day, in order to really get the most out of it, you need to have really reliable, really coaching you can trust in if you're going to be practicing.
Yeah.
Have material that you can really believe in, and that's hard to find in the marketplace. And you need to have a gang. You need to have friends in a gang. And a lot of where I began to see that was going to happen was when Lee started working with this Sorcerer's Safari summer program in Canada. All the way at the beginning of the century, it feels like 2003, 2004, that was happening, right?
But I know 1999, I think, was the first year. Then 2000 was the big year, and then 2001 is when I showed up.
And the first year I showed up there, 2002 or 2003, something like that, I was astonished at how quickly people learn magic when they're in a non-judgmental, supportive environment with people who actually know what they're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, that's every environment, right? We'll always learn more if we're in an environment that supports us rather than pushes us down, right?
And so I definitely felt like we wanted Conjuror Community to feel more like Magic Camp than even a magic club that we knew, you know, like Lee says, next level, because we didn't really necessarily always get that same family vibe at a magic club. You know what I mean?
Right.
It wasn't always that way. And now I'm so proud of the club because our members have gotten so good at it. They're so supportive of each other. And I feel like it really has a life of its own. And I'm just honored to actually be a part of it.
That's awesome.
And the deck is really just like the next step.
So yeah, why don't we talk a little bit about the inception of the deck and what prompted you guys to create a deck for the community?
Well, I've always had a lot of very specific feelings about what a deck of cards should be, you know, for a magician, and so I guess we could talk about that in a moment. But at the high level, when we saw these online communities, we've always had a large percentage of the people that find us. We've always known and seen that a lot of these people, they buy magic for years, they watch tutorials for years, they spend untold amounts of money on all this stuff, and they never really feel like they're getting it. And lots of times they think it's them, right? Video, and the video says, you do it like this. You go, well, it doesn't seem to work that way when I try and practice it. And
ain't that the damn truth?
Yeah, and who are you going to say it to? Who are you going to raise your hand in public and be like, maybe it's just me, but this doesn't make any sense to me at all, and I can't make heads nor tails of it. And you just sort of keep it to yourself quietly. And we met so many people that saw that it isn't them.
Yeah.
They join the community. We just have this suspicion that there's an awful lot of people in that same boat around there, and an awful lot of them seem to really like playing cards. So we felt like on the project level, if we were going to release a deck of cards, it should be a whole universe inside that one box of cards. It should be the most perfect deck of cards I could ever conceive of, the one I've been dreaming about for 20 years. While the rest of the world decks of cards, I was just really dreaming about what the perfect one would be. You know,
what do you call you, Lee, and be like, oh, dude, I had this dream again. It's haunting me.
I'm not going to tell you how many different versions of this came down and how many years this took. But yeah, it was he's been talking about it for a while, and he's obviously he's very particular. So the stars had to align, and they did.
Lee's like, thank God it's all over. It's not like
no. But there was definitely for years we were going back and forth about playing cards and discussing things and different companies, and I guess by luck with time there have been better choices that have come out. Yeah. So like I say, finally the stars have aligned.
That's here so we are. That's a big step.
It's a very big step, and because we've been doing. I even forget what year I first put out the Pathways training program, but we do training programs with Conjuror Community. We have, the 3M Miracle Man method is a 6-week course, once a year, and it's $600 and it's lifetime access. It's a tremendous amount of value. And it's a beautiful thing. And the Pathways is my whole card course. And that I was first released that on Penguin years ago and turned it into a whole website. It's like a $300 program. And look, if you're going to be practicing sleight of hand for hours and hours, you really kind of want to make sure you're getting instruction that makes you feel like you're not just going nowhere and becoming frustrated and sad and feeling untapped.
Yeah.
But we've always seen that when you put that together with people in real time, people like camp get to learn so much more. They have a lot more fun, and it's a lot like a party, and it doesn't feel like you're in class or at home watching homework and trying to get it and stuff.
Yeah.
So the idea was to take the cards and to put the things in the cards that would really be the most helpful to you if you wanted to do amazing magic, right?
Yeah.
And then put it together with a training program / experience / magic convention and party that would really give a whole new audience a chance to experience an exciting and empowering way to get into really learning about sleight of hand and close-up magic and how to really...
Right. The deck is just the buy-in to the entire experience.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we could say to you guys, great experience, going to change your life. You're going to learn things you've always wanted to learn. You'd be like, oh, okay, you might be a little apprehensive. But if I say to you, look, the buy-in is a deck of cards, right? And that's not the only buy-in, obviously. There's going to be tiers, as you all know with Kickstarter. But literally, out the ground, we want you to come play. We want you to come experience. And so we've made it that interesting for you to do.
Right. Yeah, you guys are definitely all about the community as a whole and how to bring people in and keep them within the community that you love so much and that you were introduced into, and I think that's important. I think it's huge because, like you said, Aaron, there's a huge amount of tutorials on YouTube. Let's be honest. I was trying to learn the one-handed fan. It's not a magic trick, but it's like I wanted to learn the one-handed fan because I just think it looks so dope, pulling it up and going and it opening up. And I watched one video, and I was like, oh, cool. And I tried to do it, and I'm like this, it looks like that. And I watched another video, and then another video, and then another video, and it's like that is basically the conjuring community without having to watch 30 videos on the same thing and trying to figure out the best way to do it. Where you have a community, you do something, and the community helps you. Maybe this, maybe that, because it's all these
you're
different
getting different feedback.
Yeah.
One is self-directed. Like Steve, you're self-directing, right? You don't know where to go. You're just kind of searching around. Correct. You're on your own.
Yeah.
And that's the difference right there, is that there is an entire community that is here to help you, because they've gone through that problem. They've solved that problem. They have 40 different answers for that problem.
right.
And so that's the thing is, like, do you want to, like, who wants to spend their time alone on a desert island? Or do you want to be with everyone else, like, really innovating? And that's, I mean,
It depends,
I don't want to distill it down
on who
like
you
that.
ask.
Right.
Some people would rather be on an island by themselves, but that's not us.
There's certain times, but the idea of when you're learning something, you don't want to be on an island by yourself.
No.
Totally correct.
You want to be in a safe environment where people around you that are helping you, that are pushing you to be better. And that's what this is.
And that you can rely upon having, like, the right intention.
Yeah.
You know,
people that care about your growth rather than, like, people who don't want you to be better than them, so to speak, you know?
Right. Some other weird thing, or just as bad, not really knowing what they're talking about, you know, because it's such an easy buy-in. And there's this beautiful idea that no matter what you want to know, it's on the internet and it's free on YouTube. And I believe that if you're talking about an old art, an old craft, or something where, you know, there's a lot of a business, for example, where there's a lot of money to be made, or an ancient martial art or something like that, I don't know if I want to get that mostly from a free tutorial. Of course, there's exceptions and there's always gold and nuggets to be found. But the last thing I would want to do if I had a child and that child wanted to learn magic or the guitar or the piano or anything beautiful that was going to take practice is say, go get yourself some free tutorials on YouTube and good luck, kid.
Let that be a starting point. Let that be a starting point. There's nothing wrong with that, right? No, it's like you want the people to buy in as low as possible if you want them to get interested. So please go learn some stuff. But it's the moment you get to that wall, and it comes quickly. When you get to that wall where it's like, I think I've learned everything that the internet has to teach me. There's nothing else that's, you know, that's when you need to turn to a more professional source. And, you know, I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with free tutorials on YouTube. There really isn't. That's how the new generation of magic is learning. And again, I'm a big proponent of that. But I'm also here to tell you that you're going to hit that wall. And when you do, that's where we're over here. We're on the other side of that wall.
Right. And the cool thing about it, and, you know, Aaron, you just said, you know, yes, we can go to YouTube and get it for free. I'm a firm believer in time is money. So nothing is for free. If I'm going to go to YouTube, I'm going to spend some time over there trying to figure it out, trying to find something, all this stuff, you know, which video works best for me, because this might not work for me. It might work a different way. You know, I would much rather cut that time in half, in 3/4, and learn how I can do this the proper way rather than fiddling with it for 6 hours the incorrect way and then figure out how to work it out, you know? So I think, yes, it's free because it doesn't take money out of your pocket, but the time, people don't understand that the time they put into it, you know, if you can learn something in 3 hours in a community that cares, or you can learn in 7-8 hours and maybe you're still not doing it, you know, the way that it could be done to be done efficiently, you know?
And magic fools you. So when you're learning magic, even if you think you're learning it, you can be fooled by aspects of it that are not obvious, that are not clearly in there. And so it's, you know, one of the things about any tutorial on YouTube is it tends to be written to everybody. It's to everybody. Right. When you start to hit that wall, it becomes specific. It's about you and what you're good at and what you maybe find challenging specifically, and knowing exactly where you are and how to give you the exact nudge so you shoot forward. That's when it becomes handy to have people that have a lot of experience teaching and doing it and actually want to see you move forward.
Absolutely. And so, along that line, though, let's talk about, you know, the specific offering as it relates to the Kickstarter. So, you know, the buy-in there, as Lee mentioned eloquently, is a deck. But what is that value add that you're providing along the Kickstarter as well?
Well, the value really starts with the deck. The deck is the buy-in, but it's an incredibly luxurious deck of cards. And the luxury is not put into having it be it's meant to really feel like a natural deck of cards.
Yeah.
And the energy goes into the stock and the finish and the feel. And, we made these cards on the web press. So they're
Nice.
really robust casino quality crushed cards, and they handle the way I would really want them to handle if you're going to be doing passes and palms and heavy sleight of hand. And so we put a lot of energy into that. And I feel like, it is the buy-in, but first and foremost, it's a really sensational deck of cards that I think as you start to work with it, it'll really sort of reveal itself to you on a lot of levels.
Imagine a group of guys getting together that know a lot about Magic, that know a lot about playing cards, that know a lot about cardistry and performing and collecting and you name it.
Yeah.
And that's what all of these choices were about, right? I mean, obviously it was a balance. We had to balance everything because Aaron and I are very similar in our choices. So there wasn't a lot of things that we varied from, but obviously, we're human, we're different. And so like we had different inputs, and it was just more than me and Aaron. There was Adam, Grace was involved. And here's a name that we haven't heard yet. Brendan Hong. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Brendan Hong. He's an incredible playing card designer. He lives here in Toronto. And so we had him involved in the project as well. So you had 4 great minds that were discussing every single detail. And I mean,
for a lot of time, for a long time. Like, so you literally mulled over it, not just being like, I need to put out this deck. Like, let's get it out there.
No. Some could argue we overthought a lot of it, right? We took a lot of time, but it shows in every single aspect of this deck. And like we're saying, this is just the beginning. Is the deck of cards, and when you think about how much energy and thought went into that, now think about how much energy and thought went into the trading program, and the party that's about to go down, and the community, and you start to realize this is a reflection of the community. And so, man, this, I don't know if you can tell, I'm very, very excited for this to come out. I'm excited. I'm excited for everyone to get on the boat and start playing because this, I'm blabbing now. I'm blabbing.
No. Dude, blab away. Can I just say this? So there's 2 things that I just want to put out. Just opening the deck. The first thing that I noticed, opening the deck is how amazing the Joker is, right? And I've never seen this Joker before.
It's never been a Joker before.
That it is ridiculous. Why didn't they ever use this Joker?
This is a Lee Asher find. Tell him about the Joker.
Yeah, oh my God, Lee, dude.
I see a lot of stuff, as you know. I see a lot of antique and vintage imagery and graphics. And this one, I've seen early on, and I always thought, man, wouldn't that make a great Joker? We see a king on a bike. We see that's their trademarky style, but not this one. Not this one. This one was always, and I saw it once. It didn't appear a lot. They used it once and they kind of forgot about it. And when we started to pick all of our choices, I said to Aaron, it would be really cool. There's this graphic that's never been a card before. It's never been on a playing card. Why don't we do that? And then we showed Adam, and Adam was like, yeah. And then we showed Brendan, and Brendan was like, absolutely. And so it kind of became a unanimous choice. So as much as they'll give me credit, it was a group choice. And man, that's a hot Joker right there.
Oh man, absolutely. It's way better than a hot Joker.
No, it's amazing.
It is so good. Are you ready for this, Tyler?
It's a graphic. Hold on real quick. It's a graphic that we haven't seen in over 100+ years. So to be able to unearth this and bring this back to a new generation so they could be like, yo, this Joker's dope. That's what it's about. And and if we've succeeded by doing that already, we've already won that battle, right? We've already
2 cards into the deck at that point.
That's right. That's right.
Dude, and let me point this out for all us. I don't even know what new kids are doing these days, but if you look at the wheel of it, is he on pegs?
He's on pegs.
Oh my God. For those who ride.
He's a BMXer. You know it.
Dude, how
I love it.
Cool is that? I remember having a GT Performer with pegs. It was amazing.
Right.
But
he's riding a Diamondback. It's an old school Diamondback.
It's so good. It's so good. And the other thing I noticed is how the hell did you get the registration to print so well on a USPCC deck?
That's the web
But
press, my friend.
It's
That's
so good.
It is.
All right, so here's what people have to do. Everybody has, if they want good registration, they have to print on the web press.
I don't know about you, but I'm totally
Not easy.
Registration.
Man,
I would like the cards to, look
The
right.
thing, I think everyone would print on the web press if they could.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
But here's where it comes down to: you have to have a minimum number, and it's a big number.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's not
It
your. It's let's just say that it's maybe 10 to 15 times the size of a normal run.
Yes, exactly.
So-
and there's only three people in the card community that are printing on WebPress, right? And so it's very minimal.
I mean, listen, this is where the casino decks are run. This is where they do a lot of their mass stuff. Like they make their big tally ho push from here. Like this is their serious press.
Yeah,
And
so good.
like we had to schedule to get on it. Like we just couldn't say, hey, can we print tomorrow? No. We had to like check in on the date in the calendar, and it had to get approved. Like so literally, if everyone could do it, they would, but not everyone can. So, and that was one of our major discussions. Like we decided like this was a decision because it's about like pulling that deck out of that box and making you think to yourself, like, this has got to be one of the best decks I've ever played with.
Dude.
And so that's really what it was about. And that's why we chose to go the extra lengths and to beg everyone we had to beg to get ourselves onto that press.
Dude,
but it was
amazing.
a choice. 100% it was a choice.
Well done, man, because it's beautiful. And you guys crushed it.
Thanks.
Like,
Literally.
You see what I did? You see what I did? You see what I did there?
Literally. Yeah, like I'm telling you, every single thing you touch on this deck was a choice. And Aaron and I were joking earlier that we got about 95% of what we asked for. There were certain things that we pushed that envelope. We tried. But for the most part, they did a lot of what we wanted them to do. And it shows. You can feel it. You can see it. You can even smell it if you're into smelling playing cards. I know there's a handful of guys out there like Stu. Like wait till you smell this deck, man. This is
definitely
awesome.
smells unique. It's definitely different than a normal bicycle deck, which is cool.
Now,
good thing we did it when we did it, right? Because Tiffany told us that with Cartamundi coming in, that was going to be the end of these licensing any of the art. So,
right. Cartamundi came in and bought everything, right? Within this last few months, they kind of solidified the deal. And in doing so, like they're having to now take stock of what they own, basically. And they didn't say this out loud, but I mean, you can kind of assume that they don't want to print anything antique or vintage because they just want to make sure what they own first. Yeah. And so we assume we were the last ones off the press to be able to do some kind of run with an antique design. Because I know there are a handful of people that are like, man, they told us no, like we can't. I don't know how you guys got to do this.
Right.
Like, because that's how long ago we were asking to do this. It took so long.
Yeah.
And that was our end. A lot of it was our end. I don't want you to think that United States Playing Card Company took forever. We took forever because the choices took forever.
Well, you wanted it to be, again, what Aaron was dreaming about, and that takes time. So, and you know what?
Up in a cold sweat, yes.
Yeah. And I think, and Lee, as you mentioned there too, it could be that one day Cartamundi opens the doors again to printing, with vintage design and everything. But I think it's relatively standard for them to really take stock of everything because they don't want to say, yes, you can do this if they don't know what they own. So it may take time for them to really catalog everything that they own. So and you would understand it a lot, Tyler, I think, because it is probably from a legal standpoint. Of just understanding, like, look, if we run this, because they don't want to break their own trademark or their own copyrights. So if they run something and then they break their own trademark in doing so and not realizing it, that's a faux pas on their end. Yeah. And no company wants to do that. So like it's respectable that they're trying to take account of what they got. And there will be a time where they'll turn it back on, obviously, because they're in the business of doing that. They just need to know what they own first. And that's totally Well, and I think we even saw this within the community with the announcement not too long ago from Illusionist that they wouldn't be doing any more customized rider back designs. Color change is fine, but things like shadow and depth and things like that, that very well could fall into the same bucket of Cartamundi trying to figure out what they own before they allow any sort of customization of designs that they have in their catalog.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's the first thing I thought when I saw that email from the E was they're, Cartamundi's taking account of what they got. And then once they understand, we'll get back to normal.
Exactly. And, there may be things that they end up saying, no, we don't want to, allow that to be customized or included in custom decks, things like that. But again, I also think that's normal. They've done that historically. Even USPCC, to some extent, did that with certain catalog items. So it may be that what they restrict to in-house production grows. It may be that it even shrinks and they open up more designs. I think that would be amazing to see. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we made it in the nick of time. Like we literally like the hair on our chinny chins,
Not Aaron. Not Aaron's chinny chin.
No. He shaved it off.
Just for this.
Well,
now I have a question.
Absolutely.
Obviously the Kickstarter just went live.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about the campaign and what you do get with buying into this deck.
Well, this is the thing, the deck is, as Lee said, just the beginning. So we've got this deck. Inside it, in addition to the duplicate jokers, there's 2 other playing cards, right? One is a stranger back joker and one is a red-blue double backer, which I was kind of shocked and surprised not to see these choices ever in anyone else's deck, really, or at least not in the same. It's just very interesting to me. So
most people designing decks aren't from the Magic world. That's probably the reason why. But again, like I say, you've got guys that are from the Magic world, that are from the card world, and so you're getting the best of all of it. And so that's why, Aaron, probably we don't see the kinds of setup that we're doing because no one's approached it from that kind of standpoint.
Right.
And the 2 of them together sort of make this unique combination that handle all of the most important situations I find myself in as a close-up magician. Openers and challenges and spectator challenges. And after I began to use them, I started putting these cards in every deck I was carrying. Years ago I've been working with this. And that's when I sort of realized it opens up the door to all kinds of stuff. Like, off the top of my head, there's 3 color changing deck routines and openers and visual Technicolor color changing jokers type effects and formal close-up routines and direct mentalism and stuff. So that's at the core basis of what we're going to do in what we're calling the out of the box experience, which is the 4 event party that we're going to be running over the course of an entire month, right? Everyone who backs is going to get several of my sort of club members' favorite workshops just to get started, right? Nice. I even have like a $3 tier for people who just want to get some exposure to it, to never seen me and the stuff I do before and how we communicate it. So we think it's going to be really exciting for people. But that's the beginning of what the course is going to be, because Lee's going to be there. I'm going to be there. We've got several special guests that we've got planned to come join us who are just incredibly talented people. And we're all going to be sharing our favorite tricks. We're going to be sharing fundamental techniques, and we want backers to have a serious voice in helping to dictate exactly how that course is going to be. It's the backers course. It's the backers party. So what's fortunate is Lee and I have been teaching and helping people discover card magic for like longer than we'd care to admit now.
Don't say that part out loud.
Years. Well over.
Going great. You can see it.
And we're therefore very adaptable. So what we're really excited about is finding out, where everybody is, what it is that's going to be the most impactful and empowering thing for the backers who are joining us on this experience to learn, and then we're going to be crafting the whole thing around that. People who know and have seen the magic I do know that a lot involves, some people may be interested in learning how to do visual effects that they've practiced before and had some luck with. We're going to be teaching that stuff. We're also going to be teaching a lot of really practical effects and methods and techniques so that everybody who joins us is going to find themselves much more in what's going on. We've been doing this a long time. We're going to learn a lot of stuff that they didn't know. That's very exciting. And people who are just getting started who haven't really done card tricks before, in my mind, this thing is going to be the perfect introductory experience to the whole thing all at once.
Nice. That's awesome.
And think about this. I'm sorry, Aaron, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
And that's one deck of cards. So with one deck of cards, people are going to have access to that for life, right? In a special portal, and especially if you get there on day one, and while capacity capacity holds out, we're going to be sending live invitations to as many backers as we possibly can. Sorry,
that's cool.
Go ahead, Lee.
No, I was going to say that most Kickstarter campaigns kind of culminate to the 30-day period or the 3-week period, or however long someone wants to run their campaign. Yeah. And at the end of it, it's done. You get some updates, and then you get your decks, and it's over.
Yeah.
But the way that we designed this was, no, that's when the party just gets started, right? And so this is just the beginning of it. This is get in here and then take a seat, and the ride now starts. And I think that's what's really unique about this. That's what's really fun and been really interesting to craft this kind of experience like this.
At the end of the campaign, we're going to get everybody their decks, and we're going to start the party.
Yep.
We're going to get everybody engaged and onboarded, and then we are going to begin. And I think it's going to be something like, we've done online events for people interested in Magic for years and years and years. But I have a feeling we're going to be seeing something we've never seen before, and it's going to really be a once in a lifetime experience. It's going to be a ride, and we're all going to be on it together. And it's, it's very, very exciting.
Yeah, no, it sounds amazing. And I definitely think
that.
Yeah, anyone who's checking this video out, like Aaron said, first day, there's that guaranteed live invitation. Take advantage of that. But just checking this out in general, if you have any interest in learning card magic, whether you've been doing card magic for a lifetime or you're just brand new to it, there's going to be such great material here. I think, like you said, it's going to be such a foundational experience for people really trying to get into it. But the great thing about Magic is there is nobody who knows everything. So if you've been doing this for 20 years, you're still going to be learning new stuff. There's still value in addition to this awesome deck of cards that you'll be getting by backing this campaign.
If you don't even want to back it for like the rest of the deck, back it for these damn jokers.
Like, awesome.
It's ridiculous. It's so cool. The back design is
Model 2.
Model 2s, man. That's from the original Bicycle series. Most people, they just know the rider back. Maybe the new fan back. There's a couple of, very famous back designs within that 808 Bicycle series.
Yeah.
But this is one of those backs you don't know about, that you haven't seen. And there's the Model 1 version, and then there's the Model 2 version. This is the Model 2 version. And for the hardcore out there, the ones that want to know the difference between the 1 and the 2, Steve, hold it. Yeah, there it is. If you hold it up, you'll see that wheel in the center has 4 wings. Yeah, that's Model 2 had 4 wings. Model 1 had 3 wings. It was a tri-tip. And so it actually made the card very one-way, right? It was an incredibly obvious one-way.
Yeah.
But this, we opted to go with the Model 2 so that the one-way wasn't as obvious anymore.
Right.
Also, this deck hasn't been reprinted in a very long time. They did, trying to think, this deck ended in about 1907 is my guess, somewhere around there, early 1900s. Wow. And then it kind of falls out. We don't hear about it. They don't really push it. That's not the popular card within the line. And I think around the 20s, there was a very famous magician named Laurent, and he had a throw card that was kind of like his business card / advertising piece. After his shows, he'd start scaling them into the audience. And he made a deal with Russell Morgan, same company, United States Playing Card Company, to have them make this Model 2 back. And so I think he's the first magician to customize the Model 2 back, which is super cool, which means that the magicians have loved this for a really long time, right? And we're just kind of bringing it back into everyone's purview now. And so then I think the last time that they actually reprinted this, and you can go to Joe Pearson has a beautiful website about Bicycle Playing Cards, and he's got all this information listed.
30 years ago.
It was in the early 90s. They made a euchre deck. And so I think they used the Model 2 back. And, you got those? Who's got those? Raise your hands. Nobody. So, this really was a design that kind of really fell underneath and no one remembered it, or everyone forgot about it. And what's really nice is that it's so elegant and it's so reminiscent of the rider back that your audience isn't going to go, whoa, that looks like a gimmick deck. They're just going to think that that's the same old deck that they know and love, that their grandma owns. And you know what I mean? It really, we didn't have to do anything maiden back, to get you to believe this was a real, this is a legitimate bicycle back design.
Yeah.
And
So cool.
and it screams vintage vibe. It screams antique vibe. And you know what's nice is if you look, Steve, hold up the back for a second. Where are my cardists? Cardists, check this out. You'll appreciate this because again, we thought about you too. You see the four corners? There are bikes in each four corners. So when you do a fan, it's gonna have that. That corner's gonna pop a little more because there's graphic work on those corners. And you know, again, that's a decision we could have chose. There's 82, 83 different back designs within the bicycle series. We chose this one because it fit all of our parameters. And it's a badass back design.
Special.
It really is.
Really, you know, when we saw this one, it was clear.
Yeah.
It was glowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you guys did a phenomenal job with this deck. I think the value add of the content behind the campaign makes this an absolute steal. Honestly, like the deck itself is a great deal. Throwing Magic content onto that and really introducing people to a community where they can grow in a proven way if they really want to as a magician, I think is phenomenal. Anyone who's really been looking for a way to figure out how to get into Magic, this is something you need to check out.
Yeah, for sure.
Aaron, before we kind of wrap here, anything else you want to let any interested parties know about the deck, the community, you know, the work you and Lee threw into it, anything?
You know, there's a lot of surprises. Right now, there's a surprise or two, brand new effect that I've been keeping to myself for quite some time called Pandemonium. It's on the Kickstarter page. You can go see it right now if you're interested in Magic. You want to know about that. And we have some surprises up our sleeve for the next couple weeks on this campaign. So there's definitely a good reason to go today. A lot of good reasons to go today. There's money to be saved and special to maximize your value. But then there's going to be more surprises as well. So I think just want to thank everyone for all the support that we've experienced from the community so far. And we're going to do our very best to honor it and give it back in spades.
Awesome. Now, we'll obviously put the links below, you know, for Kickstarter, for the community. But just to hear it, what's the best way for, you know, people who want to get involved with the Conjuring community? What's the website?
We're at conjuror.community, you know, and the name of the club is the Conjuror Community Club, right? CC Club. But, you know, really, if you've never heard us before, we really set up the club deck project so that you can have the biggest dose of the best aspects of everything for the price of a deck of cards. So I would say, come taste the ice cream and
time
with us.
It's the perfect introduction.
Yeah, everything else will take care of itself if you just join us for this little experience right now.
Yeah, so click that link below and
check out the campaign.
Get ready to be blown away, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. We really do appreciate you jumping on to share with the community about the cards, the project, and just everything that you've done to really make Magic attainable and supportive within the community.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for giving us the platform and allowing us to share with everyone and to tell everyone about this launch today, the first day. Go do it now.
Yeah,
do it now.
Do it now. I'm going to go do it right now.
Do it throughout the week, but go do it now because, again, first day is where it's at. And, again, thank you. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to share.
Yeah, and thank you guys for sharing so much knowledge in this deck. So we appreciate it.
Thanks,
Our
guys.
pleasure. Our pleasure.
We're going to make sure to drop some links not only to the campaign below, but to Aaron and Lee's, you know, Instagrams and pages there. So if you have questions for them, feel free to reach out. If you have questions about the campaign, feel free to reach out on Kickstarter, drop a message there. Also, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're dropping these plug episodes anytime amazing projects are coming to the community. So keep an eye out. Again, thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate it.
Peace.
Our pleasure, guys. Our pleasure.